I had some of the biggest wins of my entire career, and I had some of the biggest losses of my entire life.
Despite being one of YouTube's biggest names, Jeffree Star's journey on the platform can hardly be characterized as smooth sailing. But after being faced with life-changing event after life-changing event,
I lost the love of my life. Blink of an eye, my Rolls Royce flipped and flipped.
Has Jeffree found his purpose in a new location? With some larger-than-life pets? Or is the makeup titan about to snap in the worst way possible?
But you don't know me. I'm me.
Jeffree suddenly became a pet lover's worst nightmare. Let's see where Jeffree Star is now and why people are still calling him out. Jeffree Star has taken a drastic measure.
For my mental health and the next chapter of my life and my journey, I need to step away.
That sent him down an unlikely path.
It is absolutely amazing.
Now it's up to his fans to decide if they'll support his latest career move or if this is the final straw. There's no question, Jeffree Star has lived many lives. The MySpace fixture turned musical act turned YouTuber has built an empire on his chameleon-like ability to adapt. And through the lethal combination of a dedicated fanbase, creativity, and a mind for business, the YouTuber was able to leverage his social media success into Jeffree Star Cosmetics. Jeffree's self-titled vegan makeup line soon branched into skincare, dog toys, even paraphernalia for a mind-altering substance. And with all of these career ventures, the jack-of-all-trades somehow always had one hand free to stir the pot in online drama. That is, until his mindset suddenly shifted. Jeffree was about to implement a major change in his life that would separate him from drama, his hometown, and eventually his fans. In August 2020, the born and raised Californian tweeted about his plan to buy a second home in Wyoming. According to an Instagram post, his time in Wyoming would be a writer's retreat of sorts, where he'd focus on his autobiography. Star Ranch is what he named his soon-to-be residence. And by September, Instagram stories further pinpointed Jeffree's location to Casper, a quaint city made up of less than 60,000 inhabitants. Clearly, a population that couldn't fill a football stadium was a far cry from the bustling metropolis Jeffree had built his career in. Jeffree may have been adaptable, but was the internet celebrity cut out for rural American living? Locals welcomed both the YouTuber and his scandal-heavy past to town. Little did they know the extent of the past they were inviting in. Even hidden amongst the mountains, rivers, and sprawling fields, Jeffree was a magnet for drama. In October 2020, Insider published an investigative piece that brought to light new allegations from the former MySpace celeb's already notoriously dodgy past. See, Jeffree's virtual footprint of questionable behavior was already lengthy. Numerous videos posted online during the pre-cancel culture of the late 2000s depicted Jeffree's hot-tempered tendencies, SA episodes, and discriminating against people of color. But Insider claimed Jeffree had gone even further off-camera. The article voiced damaging allegations of abuse and SA, with Jeffree as the perpetrator. But strangely, multiple sources reached out to recant their stories. Were their memories too faulty to be sure of the details? Were they afraid to speak out? Or were their motivations for recanting more substantial? Several on-the-record sources changed their stories after the publication detailed the allegations to Star and his attorney. Insider suggested there was one factor that caused this last-minute change of heart: hush money. But the article's antagonist appeared unfazed by the recent slew of accusations. After all, he was in the midst of a move. In December 2020, Jeffree posted a photo with a Wyoming license plate, confirming he was splitting his time between states, but would never permanently leave California. For everyone wondering, I'm never gonna leave Hidden Hills. I just bought a home in Wyoming with a lot of land for my family and I. And although Jeffree couldn't control what major publications wrote, he did have certain members of the media in his back pocket.
I had people texting me, all these news people, like, what do you have to say about this? And I'm like, about what?
DJ Nike, a local Casper radio DJ, dealt with Jeffree regularly. He told the Casper Star Tribune that Jeffree made news on his own terms by contacting the DJ with anything he believed might be newsworthy. Other local journalists reported similar experiences. There was no point in requesting a comment from Jeffree. The YouTuber would reach out when it suited him. But Insider wasn't letting Jeffree out of their grasp, and they were back with more receipts. The publication now believed they had proof that Jeffree's team had thrown money at the problem. According to leaked documents posted by StickyDrama.com, It appeared Jeffree's team had paid one source $45,000 to retract his allegation and contact two other sources to retract their own. And in a screenshot of one of the messages the source sent, there was a list of Insider's other sources, a list that Insider had only shared with Star and Star's attorneys at that point. Not to be outdone by the unflattering press, Jeffree had his own announcement. Just days after the article went public, the YouTuber did a local interview with his friend DJ Nike to announce a toy drive donation.
Love giving back. I was raised from a single mom. I have no siblings, and we had a really rough upbringing.
In the video, Jeffree also spoke about his plan to open a fulfillment center in the nearby town of Evansville for his mind-altering plant-related merchandise in the very near future.
I would say spring or a little bit before that.
This center, the YouTuber said, would provide a local boom in work.
So we'll be bringing some local, obviously, jobs and employment.
And without a hitch, the distribution center opened in April.
Today, here in Wyoming, we are opening up our fulfillment center officially, and we're shipping our first order.
Though how many locals the warehouse employed remained a question. It's unclear how many local people Star employs there, but he promoted the center's opening and the jobs it would bring on social media for months after moving to Wyoming. Star did not respond to multiple requests for comment made to his social media sites for this story, reported the Casper Star Tribune. By December 2020, it appeared Jeffree had officially moved into his $1.1 million ranch. In a rustic turn from the YouTuber's hyper-glam California estate, the single-story, neutral-toned abode took a backseat to the overwhelming natural beauty that surrounded it. The home sat on outstretched pastures, with snow-dusted mountains in the background that were so picturesque they almost looked green-screened on. Given this idyllic location, it was no wonder Jeffree's videos from early 2021 became a love letter to his part-time getaway from California.
I'm keeping to myself. I'm living in this beautiful state. I'm loving life.
He was full of admiration for the lifestyle, the nature, and the solitude of Wyoming.
It's amazing here. It is the least populated state in all of America. It is really peaceful and quiet here, and it is so beautiful. My view of the mountain is just unreal.
And although the local Star Tribune suggested the openly gay Jeffree might not have the easiest ride in a state that can be suspicious of outsiders and has a record of homophobic incidents, it appeared Jeffree was acclimating quite well. He even romanticized the frostbite-inducing weather.
Ooh, 16 degrees with a chance of snow at midnight. I love it. Yes, winter wonderland.
But as everyone who's grown up in a winter climate knows, the cold can be deadly.
We're gonna go enjoy this day. It may snow a little. I love that. There was a massive snowstorm recently that I missed, sadly. Hopefully we get some today.
And Jeffree was about to learn this lesson the hard way. On April 16, 2021, Jeffree and his friend Daniel were driving in Wyoming. They were on a road Jeffree had taken hundreds of times. He wasn't speeding. There were no illegal substances in his system. The trip should have ended with both driver and passenger at their destination safe, but it didn't. See, there was one transparent danger on the road that day: black ice.
In a blink of an eye, my Rolls Royce flipped, and it was so scary. One of the scariest things I've probably ever been through.
With a partially broken back and crushed vertebrae, Jeffree joined his viewers sporting his latest non-Jeffree Star affiliated accessory, a back brace.
It has been very hard to get out of bed in the morning, but we're doing good.
He claimed both he and Daniel were lucky to escape the accident.
On a real level, we almost lost our lives yesterday. Yep.
And it appeared Jeffree's crash had also caused a priority shift. In June 2021, the YouTuber uploaded a video announcing his decision to make Casper his permanent residence.
Yes, you guys, I'm moving, and this video is really deep and we have a lot to talk about, so come inside.
At 35 years old, Jeffree was leaving California for the first time. Although this wasn't so much a goodbye to the state that had raised him, but a see you later.
So am I leaving California forever? Of course not. Am I moving to Wyoming as my main residency? Absolutely.
The change in location had been a side effect of the pandemic, forced self-reflection. Without any distractions, Jeffree was forced to confront the emotions he'd pent up from 2019, a year marked by major on-screen triumphs for the makeup mogul, and off-screen defeats. It was the year Jeffree was the focus of Shane Dawson's YouTube documentary series. It was the year the two launched the Conspiracy makeup palette together. It was the year where Jeffree's career was hitting its peak, just as his mental health was hitting its lowest.
You guys know I lost 2 dogs at 19. I lost the love of my life. The one person that I've truly been in love with is not in my life anymore. And those things, however they seem to someone else, were so devastating to me personally.
And if Jeffree thought he'd reached rock bottom in 2019, 2020 had taken the YouTuber to an even darker place.
Last summer was one of the only times I've ever contemplated, should I be alive?
But in 2021, the brakes were slammed on Jeffree's downward spiral.
Everything happens for a reason. I think my accident really happened for a reason.
The car accident forced the YouTuber to look at what matters in life, and Jeffree came out with one answer: his happiness. He decided to make serious life changes that didn't center his career or other people, but himself. Jeffree started therapy for the first time since high school, removed himself from the culture of excess in LA, and stopped filling the void with fast food. He also apologized and waved goodbye to the toxic beauty community he admitted he had been a major player in.
I'm sorry to anyone I've ever hurt. I'm sorry that I let people hurt me. I made things 10 times worse so many times, and I don't even know who that person was. And I really got caught up in the mean girl, Regina George character. I really did.
Jeffree admitted he was a work in progress, and future mistakes, well, those were a given.
I'm still healing. I don't know if I'll ever be healed from my past, you know, and I'm just so thankful that I'm in the place I am now. I'm happy. I really am. Oh my God, it just sounds so crazy. I'm happy again.
But according to the YouTuber, he had changed and was still changing.
I'm ready to soar. I'm ready to change. The next evolution is here for me, and I'm ready for it, you guys. I really am.
What would Jeffree's next evolution be? His viewers would just have to wait and see. In an interview with Entertainment Tonight, Jeffree elaborated on his decision to leave star-studded California for Wyoming.
In the last 7 years, I've lived 10 lives. I've had the craziest, wildest career so far, and I really was seeking peace and quiet.
Yeah.
Jeffree also claimed that Wyoming had relit a creative spark that the Golden State had squashed.
Last year, I went through a little creative slump for the first time in 7 years.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And there was just so much, happening, I think, that my brain just kind of went, what's next?
And what was next for Jeffree would leave fans floored. In June 2021, Jeffree introduced his fans to a new friend group he'd cultivated in Wyoming, made up entirely of yaks? That's right, Jeffree had sidestepped the traditional YouTube side hustles of hawking tea on Instagram or starting a podcast and gone straight to yak farming. On the Star Yak Ranch Instagram page, Jeffree showcased the majestic creatures as they roamed the pastures in scenes that looked swiped from a postcard. On over 500 acres of what Jeffree called yak heaven, the animals were doted on. Names like Shiva, Milkshake, and Tornado were given to the yaks who were groomed and seemingly treated as pets alongside Jeffree's Pomeranians. "I really love animals way more than people," the YouTuber claimed in an Instagram post. Jeffree even paid homage to his pets by selling yak-inspired products in his store, like plushies and a Star Ranch-themed makeup bundle with eyeshadow colors named Yak Farm, Open Range, and Wyoming. But this fairy tale was about to take a grim turn. In August 2021, Jeffree's Wyoming LLC filed to trademark yak-related products. These included trademarks for goods like yak yarn, yak clothing, and something a little more substantial, yak meat. Pet food made from yak and butcher shops and services definitely didn't align with the ranch's utopian image on Instagram. Jeffree addressed the filing in an Instagram story, claiming he was being business savvy rather than creating a to-do list.
I recently trademarked Star Yak Ranch in every single category that you could do for raising animals, just because you want to always protect yourself in business.
He reassured fans there would be no butchering of his beloved furry friends.
When I'm laying on a yak and I name them, nothing is happening to them except brushing them, loving them, and feeding them. Anything else that y'all make it up in your head, it's not real.
But if yak meat really was a byproduct of viewers' imaginations, fantasy was about to become reality. In an Instagram story, Jeffree asked his fans a peculiar question.
I also have a question for everyone out there watching this. Have anyone out there tried yak meat?
It appeared that not only had Jeffree tried yak meat, he was a fan.
It is so delicious.
And despite his previous reassurance the trademark had only been a measure to protect his business, butchering was undeniably on the table.
A lot of people are asking Jeffree, are you ever going to sell yak meat? Absolutely.
But Jeffree promised the yaks he named wouldn't be on the menu.
No, we're not butchering them, but we do have a meat pasture far in the back, and we're raising some, hi Tashi, we're raising some amazing animals for food.
The video appeared to fly under the radar, but the Instagram post that followed didn't escape the public's glare. In May, Jeffree posted an advertisement for Star Yak Ranch's grass-fed yak meat that would likely be hitting the online store in June, but selling to locals the next day. The post went on to say that yak meat is super high in protein, zinc, and B vitamins, and being 90% fat-free was a healthy red meat alternative. Ground, jerky, ribeye steak, those were just some of the forms Jeffree's yak meat came in. After the initial shock wore off, it appeared opinions were split. Some didn't see anything wrong with Jeffree using the animals for food. He was a rancher after all, and the yaks seemed to be treated well, which is more than a lot of the modern farming industry can say. At least they are getting proper care and living good lives, unlike other animals in the food industry. Vegetarian here, but love seeing the wholesomeness, the haters. Some folks really need to Google factory farms and understand the horror that is most of the meat industry. This is the alternative. Others felt duped. Jeffree's treatment of the yaks, naming them, even selling plushies, all of this portrayed the animals as friends, not food. I thought they were your pets? Here I was thinking they were there for fun and cuteness. And then there was the more pressing question, had Jeffree lied to his fans? According to Jeffree, he hadn't lied. As promised, he'd evolved. Wyoming had opened his eyes to a new way of life and food that didn't separate the animal from the meal. And however bizarre selling yak meat looked to his followers, the venture seemed like a logical next step to Jeffree. The makeup mogul turned meat mogul. It may be a little shocking to people, but it feels natural to me, Jeffree told Insider. Locals appeared to be excited, and many promised to come out to Jeffree's warehouse and show their support. Even a local column in the Cowboy State Daily covered the sale. With freezers stocked full of various cuts, including tenderloins, roasts, and one of Jeffree's favorites, tongue, there was more than enough selection to satisfy the troves of Casper residents that lined up outside the warehouse. The column described Star Yak Ranch as a true prairie-to-plate operation, stating Jeffree was really embracing the Wyoming ranch life. But as Wyoming celebrated Jeffree, the internet was still reeling from the news. Me thinking Jeffree Star was raising yaks for mental health during the pandemic. Many seemed to find dark humor in the jarring turn of events. He really does just make friends and then stab them in the back. He's embraced his villain arc. Not me thinking it was a yak sanctuary this whole time. Jeffree Star killing yaks for the meat market is a pivot I genuinely did not see coming. When I first reported on Jeffree Star's yak meat trademark last year, he quickly made a story saying his yaks were just for petting and loving. Fast forward less than a year, and he is selling yak jerky. But others were raising serious concerns. I'm wondering how he decides which are good enough to keep and which are okay to murder for profit. The weirdest part is having a vegan cruelty-free makeups brand and also farm yaks for the meat industry. And as much as Jeffree claimed his new era involved staying out of internet drama, it seemed the retired Regina George was back in business and ready for an old-school Twitter rant. On May 28, Jeffree tweeted, "I guess some people forgot that it's okay to change your mind or evolve an idea. The world is so dark and ugly, why project your self-anger at me?" The YouTuber claimed the focus on his life seemed like a distraction from the current political events people should be focusing on. Our country is trying to take women's rights away. There is no way women are actually concerned about me supplying my local community with food. I've donated over 1,000 pounds of meat to shelters. Although Jeffree did consider all the yaks to be his pets, the benefits of yak meat could not be understated. He said consuming farm-fresh meat free from growth hormones and disgusting additives had been a beautiful experience that had changed his outlook on food and health. As for his vegan makeup line, the YouTuber saw no conflict. "I chose to create a cosmetic line that didn't torture and test on animals. We all know I've never claimed to be vegan." He then went on to imply the people lashing out at him were children being robbed of a childhood outside of the internet. They are born with iPads in their hands and no parents to love them. When I was a kid, we were outside every day getting exercise, not glued to a screen writing strangers' horrible comments. And Jeffree's rant was not confined to the bounds of Twitter. Instagram was also getting an earful. The YouTuber told his followers that he too had a limited scope of the way the food industry worked before he moved to Wyoming.
When you are raised in LA, you don't know about hunting. You don't know about the culture of where your food comes from. We just eat random crap. I used to be the fast food queen, you know, fucking disgusting. That made me feel all the time, and I didn't realize it.
Jeffree claimed the only meat he typically ate now was yak, a big difference from his fast food mukbang days.
I was promoting Taco Bell like it was fucking Chanel. Disgusting. I'm so disappointed in myself.
And it seemed like there was interest in Jeffree's yak meat, locally and beyond.
Today was insane. First of all, shout out to everyone that came down to our yak meat pop-up. It was amazing. There was people from all over. I was shook.
Jeffree also clarified that most of his yaks were kept as pets and for breeding purposes. But yes, there were some used for meat.
I'm not a hypocrite. I'm not a liar. You don't know me. I'm me.
And no amount of online guilt tripping could change Jeffree's stance.
The future's great. Everything's awesome. And no one's gonna be on my parade, Miss Thing. All right, time to go play with all my yaks that I'm not killing. Bye, guys.
With that sign-off, it appeared Jeffree's social media defense campaign had ended. The rancher was content with his choice to raise his animals from the pasture to the dinner plate. But Jeffree was about to offer his fans one final explanation. On June 6th, Jeffree uploaded a YouTube video, this time allowing his viewers through the metal gates of Star Yak Ranch. Jeffree's daily life on the farm showed a YouTuber far removed from his California lifestyle of Gucci shopping hauls, junk food binges, and drama-fueled callouts.
This is how I start my mornings. I come out here really early when everyone's just chilling, and I just spend time with them all.
Although, as Jeffree's custom yak plate for his trailer suggests, farm living hadn't knocked the diva antics out of the YouTuber. Still, Jeffree had undoubtedly been softened by his time on the ranch.
I've just been keeping it to myself. It's where I found peace after being canceled for the 10th time.
Eventually, Jeffree addressed the scandal du jour, his yak meat venture.
You can make meatballs from this, hamburgers, tacos, oh my god.
He claimed some of his viewers' comments implied a gap in knowledge surrounding where meat came from.
I read some comments like, I thought meat came from the grocery store. You guys, I literally was like, that's not real, right? And then people in Wyoming were like, oh yeah, people think meat comes from the grocery store. And I'm like, I had no idea people were uneducated about farming, where meat came from, even the culture of hunting and providing food for your family. It's a whole entire world.
But Jeffree had faced a similar culture shock when moving to Wyoming.
I think it's so important to educate yourself and know where your food comes from. Living in California, I had no idea about that stuff, nor did I care.
And it was yak meat viewers could thank for the new and improved Jeffree.
I'm proud of the Jeffree Lynn that stands here today with clear skin, I'm toned, I feel way better, I'm not bloated, tired. Even I think the food was making me moody and depressed, and it was really a part of everything I was going through. So to know where your food is raised is so important.
He claimed there was never a plan to make meat, but as evident by the trademark filing, slaughter had been an option.
And when I learned more about the animal, I was like, oh, well, I want to try doing stuff like that. So yes, a long time ago, I did trademark the Star Yak Ranch for all sorts of things: fiber, breeding, butchering, everything.
And it appeared this preemptive trademarking came in handy, now that not every yak stay at the ranch was permanent.
Now, behind me, these animals are going to actually to slaughter tomorrow.
The named yaks, Jeffree confirmed, had no checkout date from the ranch.
So every yak that is staying at the Star Yak Ranch and we are using for breeding or just to love on, they all have names like High, Titanic, Gold Rush, Rich.
And although every yak on the farm was groomed and lived freely, the yaks that were being used for meat were not pets in the way Shiva, Milkshake, and others were.
All of the yaks that I'm raising for food, they're in a back pasture. Yes, they are still getting love and care, and they're eating amazing. Obviously, they're all grass-fed. But I don't name them. I don't halter train them. I don't spend hours with them.
But if he did bond with the animals he butchered, he wouldn't be the first rancher to do so.
I know people that would raise someone like this, and then 10 years later, they're like, okay, I fed you for 10 years. Now you're gonna feed me. And it's a very different dichotomy.
Although some comments remained critical of Jeffree, the yaks in the back when you say they're going to slaughter tomorrow. Now that's just sick. Jeffree, you're rich as f***. Do you really need to kill animals for more money? The majority of viewers were impressed with the way the YouTuber handled the drama by providing insight rather than becoming defensive. You can tell how much Wyoming has humbled him. Healthy inner peace radiating just a brand new Jeffree, and I love to see it. It seems we're just at the beginning of Jeffree's debut into the world of farming, and as Jeffree's evolution continues, there's no predicting how many curveballs will be thrown fans' way. But regardless of whether Jeffree's change proves to be for better or worse, for now, the YouTuber appears to be forever grateful to the state that showed him kindness when he needed it.
It is just full of real hardworking, kind people. I've just have been treated so great. Everything from opening up new businesses to my horrendous car accident. I've just been shown nothing but love out here. So Casper, I love you. Wyoming, thank you so much for being so beautiful.
Jeffree Star says he's changed, but even the YouTuber admits he's not above backsliding into bad habits.
I'm a human being, I'm gonna make a million more mistakes, but I've learned from so many of my personal past mistakes.
And although the idea of Jeffree butchering his animals has made some fans uncomfortable,
These animals are just living their lives freely until it's time to be on someone's plate.
it seems like Jeffree's recent decisions haven't been based around people-pleasing.
I'm ready to let go of so much. I'm ready to really focus on my inner happiness and my peace. And I didn't think I would ever be ready to sit here on camera and tell anyone this, because I've been ridiculed, I've been degraded, I have been called every name in the book, and I think I just have to really be free again and just live my life, and that's where I'm at.
This is the story of Jeffree Star, the YouTuber who is constantly trying to evolve.